You are listening to the Real Men Feel Show with Andy Grant. Real Men Feel encourages men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to engaging in discussions that most men aren't having, but you don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel Show is produced weekly for your growth and enjoyment. Listen to us on podcast platforms including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and many more. You can also watch the show on YouTube by visiting realmenfeel.org/YouTube. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeelorg and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. Real Men Feel is brought to you by the Good Men Project. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having. Your reviews, comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in our Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Real Men Feel. This is your host, Andy Grant. And, as 2018 is coming to an end, kind of looking back on all the things that have happened to me this year and the different things I've gotten into and the different things we talked about on the show. And one of the things that have become a big part of my life is a product and a business opportunity, a venture that I've gotten myself into that's been a lot more fun than I expected and has brought me more rewards and a great feeling. And it has to do with aging. And so that's kind of going to be the topic of today's show, and talking about the myths that men have heard as they grow older. And I've heard all sorts of different guys telling me different ages that I'd start falling apart, and, life's all downhill from, 30 on, 40 on, whatever it may be. But joining me today is entrepreneur and a founding member of the Cape Coral Holistic Chamber of Commerce and avid vacationer, Mr. Jeffrey Berger.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Very good. And so where are you joining us from, Jeff?
I am in Port of Miami, getting ready to take off on a ship to go to a Caribbean cruise to visit Belize and Cozumel.
Nice.
I'm on the Navigator of the Seas.
Cool. We've had guests from all around the world, and people calling in from their home, from schools, from offices. I've had guests calling in from their cars. But I believe you're my first sea word. What's the right word?
Sea word, sea venturing, seabound.
All right, cool. The first cruise ship calling. Awesome. And kind of chatting with you earlier in the introduction to the show, were there things you were growing up as at any age, as a child, as a teenager, in your 20s? Were there specific age markers that men in your life told you, it all just is downhill from that point on?
Oh, absolutely. So, but first I want to say thank you, and I'm humbled to be on your show this afternoon. So I'm very grateful for that, Andy. And of course, in the 20s and the early 30s, as we, are getting through that early adulthood, getting into middle age, you do have discussions with people who are, going through different experiences. Me, for example, losing my hair, and that's part of, the aging process. And those of us who have that, who are follically challenged, if you will, we just grin and bear it and move forward. But I didn't really learn a lot about that until I would say my late 30s, early 40s, and more so just recently over the last year to year and a half, with more great detail about understanding the aging process and what really happens to the human body. In my past experience as a software engineer, I just focused on, going to work 5 days a week, sometimes 6-7 days a week, and just, making that paycheck and then doing what I got to do to live. But with the change of career, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of different things out there that I was not aware of, and many of us are not exposed to in our 20s and 30s.
Yeah, when I was growing up, when I was a child, my dad often told me that high school were the best years of your life. So, by that theory, at a young age, I was saying, once you hit 18, it's all kind of downhill. And I remember being 30 years old and on a vacation with my wife in Costa Rica, and met like a group of three, I think it was four guys traveling together, buddies from California. And they were aged from like, 45 to maybe 58 was the oldest one of them. And each one of them told me, because I was like running around and hiking mountains and being faster than them. And they were like, oh, just wait till 35, your knees will give out. Or when you hit 45, your hip's going to go away. And they all had a different number, and just warning and just telling me of like dreadful news awaiting me as I grew older.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the age that sticks into my head is 40. Because I was pretty lean in my 20s and 30s, but when I hit 40, things started to change. I was like, oh, so maybe it is 40. But now, I think today it's all mindset and what you're doing and what you're thinking about and how you're really taking care of yourself if you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
It has a huge, huge impact on that.
Yeah. And I've always been overweight, and sometimes a lot overweight, sometimes a little overweight. And it almost like didn't seem to matter like how active I was. But I was, I grew up, I was definitely an emotional eater. So food is the celebration and the depression fix as well.
I get that totally.
Yeah. But, as I got old, as I was in my 40s and didn't really feel very different than when I was in my 20s, and when I crossed 45, I was like, I like, I liked hitting numbers than just crushing the myths. Like, no, everything actually feels really good. And I've been married for 20 years. And I remember when I was engaged, guys at work told me, I still don't know if they were like busting my balls or they were really being honest, but they're like, oh, it's hard. Don't do it. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I'm like, and they were such a serious face. I'm like, I really was concerned, like these married men are saying, just don't do this. But again, I've been married 20 years, and that's been better and gone faster than I ever would have imagined. But
that's awesome.
So I'm 52 years old, and when I hit 50, I started having muscle spasms in my back, and all the workouts I used to do that felt good were starting to like break me down almost. I love Les Mills combat classes. I took the first one as a dare, just from a girl, like all the girls are in there. Why don't you try that? I'm like, fine, I'll try it. And I've loved it. So if you're not familiar with it, it's it's a mixed martial arts program, but you're not with an opponent. And when I was learning, I felt like I was just trying out for the Rockettes and trying to have a slap fight and with Rockettes moves and high kicks and defending myself from imaginary people. But it's been a blast. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years. But I kept having these muscle spasms in my lower back, and I couldn't go to the gym, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move, and chiropractors, and it wasn't doing much. I'd get better, it'd feel good after like 3 months, try again. It was just my weak spot for whatever reason. But there's an HGH homeopathic gel that is how we met each other, and a mutual friend of ours told me about it. And normally I probably would have just passed, but because I was hurting, and my attempts at fitness were somehow breaking my body down further, that I was decided to give it a try. And I was, my results are not typical, but I felt it on like day 3, and I felt amazing. I felt energized, and I remember asking my wife, like, is today exceptionally good? Like, what's going on today? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, maybe it's the gel. And that's when I started like keeping a diary. But I was like full of energy and just feeling like fantastic. And then the next day, like 10 a.m., I noticed the same, like, today's fantastic too. Like, what's going on? And I had a jump rope in my office. I just started jumping rope just because I was so like energized and felt so good. And my legs felt great. My feet felt great. My back felt great. And that night I went back to the gym, and I hadn't been to the gym in 3 weeks. Again, just due to just these back issues and discomfort in my feet and my lower back. And the workout was fantastic, and I was like energized and stoked through it. And it's just kept going. And I've now been using the HGH supplement for 3 months, and I'll notice pain because it shows up so rarely and quickly, and it reminds me, oh yeah, I used to like feel that all the time, and now it's just this, it's just like a jolt. So I've been really impressed by this, and just want to share this with more people and let more people know about it, because it's fairly new product and company. But Jeff, you've been involved a lot longer, and so I wonder what's the first thing that you noticed when you first used this the HGH gel.
Sure, Andy. So I was actually originally I was introduced to this product back in December, it's December 22nd, actually. And we were just getting ready to move from Buffalo to Cape Coral, Florida. And did not, with everything going on, the holidays, the moving, didn't get back to it until the end of February, got onto it in March, was very skeptical in the beginning, didn't really understand what the product really meant, what it did. But I was definitely interested in giving it a shot. So in the first 2 weeks, I definitely, by day 3, I noticed that I was sleeping through the night. I hadn't slept through the night in over 30 years. I'm up 3, 4, 5 times a night. When I got up that 4th day, I was like shocked that I didn't get up once. So that was the first thing that I really experienced, was better sleep. And then over the next couple of days, I was noticing that I was getting more energy. My mood was better, and clarity. Clarity and mood were really just incredible. I got a lot of things going on, and I just felt that I was more mellowed and more even keeled, if you will. And those were the first big aspects that I got out of it. But then later on, by the 3rd month, I've suffered from 3 herniated discs for about 30 to 35 years now, which I actually herniated them when I was living in Boston, Massachusetts, of all places. But I was noticing that when I was working, my back wasn't as tired, because I would have to get up every half hour, 45 minutes, and just stretch and walk around. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been at this desk for 3 hours, 4 hours, and I don't have any pain. So the aches in my back have basically gone away by the 3rd month of using this product, and which has really blown me away, because I've experienced excruciating pain, especially living up north. So those were the benefits that I got right out the gate. And as I continue to use the gel, there's more benefits of muscle toning and some weight loss. Not great for me, but again, that does revolve around your eating habits. I'm eating much better now, so I'm noticing, well, especially when I was in Dominican Republic for a week, and now I'm going on a cruise here. So, and the food is very, very good. So, but just managing the weight has been really good. So those are the first things that I've really noticed. And I do have a partner. I'll just toss this out to for people out there in the men's group. One of the significant changes, besides the sleep and the energy, Josh is hard of hearing, and he started to get some of his hearing back. He was hearing things that he had not heard in over 30 to 40 years, which has been astonishing to see this happen over a 3 to 4 month period. So that's been amazing. And what's been great is, as we get more testimonials from the people who are on the product, people are reaching out from his testimonials about them getting some improved hearing capabilities, which has been awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I had not seen those testimonials or heard of that effect for people. But I'm really glad you also mentioned the clarity, because one thing I noticed was an increased focus, and I've had this level of productivity that
Exactly
has blown me away. And I'm up and working till 11 and sometimes midnight, and it's on things I want to get done. It's not like I'm being sent to the coal mine or something. But then I'm also waking up at 6:30 the next morning, just like ready to go again. And,
ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and so it's the energy from this hasn't been like a caffeinated hyper sort of anxiety thing. It's just like, yeah, focus and clarity, and that's next. Now we get this, and like, oh my goodness, like 12 hours have gone by today. Like, when did that happen?
Exactly. Yeah, the focus is another thing, because I've got a number of businesses that I'm working on, and with all that stuff, just like you've got a lot of stuff going on, and it just enabled me to really pin in on the specific areas that I'm working on, rather than thinking, oh my gosh, you got to do this for that one and that for something else. which has been amazing. I'm just really totally thankful for that result,
Yeah.
for sure.
So if you got introduced to the HGH gel last December, almost exactly a year ago, then that was really when this company got started selling this, right?
Yeah, so the company actually launched November 27th. That was when they opened the doors, and they brought on some distributors back in early December, and they started to rock and roll, getting the information out to family and friends. And the company grew pretty. They did 100,000 in sales by the end of December, and by May we had accrued about 12,500 distributors, and they hit the $6 million rank of finance, of sales at that particular point. And then we've just been moving forward. And today we're doing about $10 million a month in sales, and there's a little over 72 to 75,000 distributors across the U.S. at this particular point.
Wow. And I have never been involved in any sort of network marketing before. So like 75,000 people, that sounds like a lot to me, but like a really robust network marketing company that's been around for years, like how many distributors might they have?
So they could have into the millions, Andy. And generally, I've been involved with 2 network marketing companies before. And what they say is once you hit the 500,000 distributor, level there, that is when you're just hitting that peak momentum. So we're still in a very good position with New Life, and bringing on board people, because we just finished what was called a pre-launch, getting the dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and building the infrastructure out, because this business has grown so fast that in the beginning they weren't ready for us, and now all of those things are in alignment, and things are moving forward smoothly. We still are working on a couple of things, but that's pretty typical with a startup company. And things are getting realigned, and bringing on corporate executives and a medical advisory board. So it's pretty exciting.
Cool. And so again, the company's just over a year old, but the product, the gel has been around longer. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Absolutely. Alexi Goldstein, who's the master formulator, actually was working with Olympic athletes over 14 years ago. He comes from a family of holistic and homeopathic product lines, and more on the nutritional side. And he was working with professional athletes, bodybuilders, and wrestlers, and they were using the injectable human growth hormone, which has, its controversies. There's pros and cons about it, and obviously you need to be regulated under doctor's care for the injectable, because that is pure human growth hormone that's being injected into the human body. With this product, it's a transdermal gel, it's homeopathic. And so back then, he said there's got to be an easier way to introduce human growth hormone into the human body. And he came up with the formulation for HGH Gel back then. And this gel actually is not only HGH, it does have a thyroidium component to it, as well as a supranalis adrenalis suis, which is for the adrenal glands. As we age, and these are some of the things that I've learned, which I was not aware of, and it's pretty amazing science, is that as when we hit our 20s, generally guys 25, women 23, that's when these glands stop producing at high levels their natural hormones. And over the years, it just dwindles down to basically nothing. This particular transdermal gel is a hormonal balancing product. So it's basically a communicator to, it goes on your skin topically, and it's absorbed into your bloodstream, and it's a communication mechanism to your pituitary gland, which is the mother hormone. And it kind of kicks that pituitary gland in the butt and says, hey, wake up, you may be 60 years old, you may be 70 years old, but you're not dead yet. Start producing some more of your own hormones there, and as well as the thyroid and the adrenals. The adrenals, so the pituitary gland sits behind, in the middle of the brain, under the center of the cortex there, and then the thyroid is wrapped around your neck here, around your esophagus, and then your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys. And your adrenals, when you're stressed out, you got producing a lot of cortisone. The adrenals get down to the size, from a kidney size, which is healthy, down to like a dried up green pea, which is not normal. And with this hormonal balancing product that we have, which also includes a lot of botanicals that are incorporated into it. But the three hormonal aspects are basic communication and waking them up to produce their own hormones at that particular point, and then the different botanicals that address stress and address inflammation and aches and pains and muscles and libido, menstrual, and from that perspective on the women's side, women by far are getting the best results out of this product because they've got a lot more going on hormonally. And so it's been pretty amazing to hear some of the women's testimonials as well as the men's testimonials. I mean, we get great results on both sides. And if anybody is looking at or kind of concerned about the product, our advice is they take the ingredients to their doctor and get medical clearance. We are not here, we never say that we can cure anything or heal anything. It will help with certain things that are going on in your body and alleviate or minimize certain aspects that's going on. But from a medical perspective, we're not medical doctors unless a medical doctor has this in their office and they have it as a product line that they're offering their patients. We always recommend that they take the ingredients to their doctors to get medical clearance.
Cool. Yeah, and I think like most people just have heard of HGH and that it's in us and it's the hormone that builds cells and builds muscles and kind of keeps us feeling youthful. But one thing I didn't realize was that I thought HGH injections were really just a Hollywood celebrity thing, something very expensive, and almost you needed to get like a kind of a doctor on the sly to kind of agree that something was wrong with you, that you needed to it. But I realized it was just if you wanted it, you could get a doctor to give it to you.
No, yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean, you've got those that abuse it with anything that's out there, getting it on the black market, but those that you really should have it monitored through a doctor's supervision. And it is a pharmaceutical. That is an approved FDA registered pharmaceutical, and it's 100%. So, but not only athletes, Andy, and professionals and Hollywood people, this is also used for medical purposes for young kids, because sometimes they're having growth issues and their growth isn't going as fast as it should. And depending on, how their pituitary or how their thyroid or how their adrenals are working, the doctors will get them onto a regimen through a prescription via an intravenous or a needle injection format. You got to be really careful for those that are out there doing the needle. If you're not being monitored by a doctor, there could be some potential serious consequences to that. Yep. So you have to be really, really careful. We're very lucky here that the three hormone components of this product are at a microdose. So we're at the point where we can basically market this over the counter without a doctor's prescription for the most part.
Cool. And I've actually met a couple people as adults that for their own health reasons or cosmetics, I'm not sure what the reason was, but they were getting HGH injections, and once they discovered the gel, they stopped those and moved to the gel and said the benefits were, there wasn't a big drop. They still had almost the same benefits from the gel compared to the thousands of dollars for these shots.
That's absolutely correct, Andy. And we do have some medical professionals that are using this product in their practices. We do have a doctor in Manhattan who is a hormone replacement clinic. On top of, he's a top renowned robotic oncologist surgeon. But he was on board and said that he's never seen a product like this, and he's going to highly recommend it to all of his patients who are on the needle injection of human growth hormone because the product is safer and you don't need a doctor's prescription for it.
Cool. And as I shared my experience earlier, that I was not looking for a business venture at all. I was looking for, does this help me? And it did, and it helped me so much that I agreed to become a rep and a distributor for this. So I wonder, were you looking for a business venture? Is that how you discovered this, or was it more an experience of the product, or how was it for you?
So a very good question. I was actually introduced. I wasn't looking for anything at that particular point. A buddy of mine, Kenny Olson from Massachusetts, called me up and he introduced this product and the business opportunity to me. And I actually said, well, I'm not really interested in a business, but I'll take a look at the product initially for a results perspective because of the over 40 benefits that it proclaimed that it does have. So I wanted to see if I could get some of those benefits. But when I was using it for the first 2 weeks, when I got it, I started to do some more investigation about the company, about the product line, and the benefits of it, and realizing that there's no other product out there on the market like ours. So it seemed to be a very good business strategic, movement to get involved with this as a secondary, third, tertiary stream of income, because I've got a couple of other things going on as well. So I jumped on board with it, and it's been going well. So I'm very, very excited about it. Meeting some great people through the business opportunity, and not only through my organization, but through different people that are involved in the business. I'm working with a woman down here in Naples, Florida. She's a certified health coach, and learned an awful lot from her. And we've kind of been doing some joint business workshops together, if you will. And it's been pretty exciting. And we've got some more that are going to be coming up in January and February as well.
Cool. And again, this is a homeopathic product, so it's the minimal dose that has an effect on the body. So it can't interact. There can't be negative side effects to it. And you can't really it's not something you can overdose on. Is that right?
No, it's not something that you can't overdose on it. Again, I go back to the point of, if people are concerned about the ingredients, they need to take it back to their doctor. I never say anything, everything is 100% safe. It's not, because everybody has different reactions or different, components to their body that are impacted by certain products. People are allergic to or can't take bufferin, but they could take Excedrin, so forth and so on. And as we're building the business, as we're learning about this product, we're learning on, the great benefits it has, but also, some people will get a small rash from it, or if they're not sleeping, then we kind of pull back and have them do an earlier dosage instead of at nighttime. And it's all monitoring through, working with your customers as well as working with your distributors, and really helping them educate about the benefits of the product, the pros and the cons, and working with that individual to where they're getting the most benefits from the product.
Right. So it really does take some experimentation it can take time for someone using this for the first time to notice something, and then deciding, do they want more or less of what they notice, and the timing. Because if, like I said, I have found the energy boost to just add to my productivity. I haven't had when I go to sleep, I decide to go to sleep. I shut my eyes and I'm gone. It's right. Amazing that I'm energized and still getting great sleep. But I have heard that some people, because the recommended dose is, you take a pump of the gel in the morning and a pump at night. And some people move that night one into the evening or the afternoon, even if it keeps them awake. But
that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and the regular protocol is we're talking about 2 blueberry, and I'm talking about non-steroidal blueberries, pumps, or peanut M&M size pumps, and that is the recommended dosage. However, some people, I start out with 1 pump. If it's an elderly person, or if it's a petite woman, I always recommend small is better, and then you can work up from there. And sometimes people will be doing 3 a day instead of twice a day. So you find that depending on the individual's health or their situation. For example, if you're dealing with a 300 or 250 to 300 pound man versus a 102 pound woman, well, there's some significant difference there,
Right.
and there are significant differences between men and women and how they react to this.
Cool. Um, is there anything that has surprised you kind of the most in your own use or with the people that you've come into contact with?
I think the biggest thing for me is how this is helping so many people out there that it's given them a second look at being able to have a better quality of life, if you will, where they were suffering for years or months, whatever that length of time is, and people are, having a renewed sense of life. And when you hear these stories, it definitely is an enlightenment, and it does bring a smile to your face, for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I've and read lots of great stories, and like I've been using the product. My wife uses it. My mother-in-law, all using it. So it's both sexes, all ages. I've
Absolutely.
hearing great. And I didn't think of it. I wish I had taken a close-up picture of my face when I first started, because I don't use cosmetics. I don't pay attention to those sort of things. But I
Right.
swear, like I've noticed, like my own, like having less like crow's feet and less wrinkles, and like my skin seems brighter to me when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, is this in my head, or was there something like really happening here in my skin?
Well, you've got to have pictures at least 3 to 5 months before you started the gel. Pull up one of those pictures and then just do a picture from today and do that comparison.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because that's one thing my mom taught. She noticed the sleep and the energy pretty quickly, and then not long of using it, she thought her complexion and wrinkles are really changing right before her eyes. So
women are getting that definite impact. Many women are, not all, of course, not all. But the other thing I want to go back to real quick, you mentioned about ages, all ages. This product is recommended for people over 25, generally. However, there are people in their teens, late teens, 18 and above, who have lost their production of hormones, and we do have some at that age group that are on the product. But if it's anything before 18 years old, it's not recommended, because they're still, their hormones are still being produced, and unless they think that there's an issue, they need to take it to their doctor and have it looked at. So
right.
I just want to make sure that was clear for the listeners out there.
Cool. Yeah, as a younger body is finding its own sense of balance, it doesn't necessarily want some new substance trying to balance it at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm glad that
for teenagers, their libidos are high enough. We don't need to double it at that age.
What would that unleash?
Oh, I don't know. I'd be afraid to find out.
Cool. Yeah. So again, I've experienced the benefits for the side of fitness and athletics, and again, hearing other people from the idea of cosmetics and beauty. So I think it's there's 40 kind of expected benefits from use of the HGH gel over a few months.
That is correct. There's about around 40, a little over 40 plus. I do know that, for example, with the hearing, that's not on the 40 plus. So that's why or the 40 benefits. So that's why we say 40 plus, because there are some people having a little bit different outlook or are different benefits from it that aren't listed.
Right.
So, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because the 40 benefits are from the 10 or more years when this was being given to professional athletes, and now it's expanding to the masses. So
that's right.
Things and reports and ways that were helped that weren't noticed by people that just worked out every day, and noticing that kind of first. It's what else bubbles up for people. But one thing that's been neat for again, I've never been involved with a network marketing company until now, but one thing that has been a lot of fun in seeing people get involved is I'm seeing stories of people that were have gone from homeless to able to get an apartment and stuff just from their job was being a rep for the gel.
That is correct. Yes. It's all about what's your burning desire? What do you want? And, it's there for the taking, basically, So, it's great to see some of these people being able to get out of that sinking. You got the water mode where you're at the water, you're above it, you're below it, and you're trying to get above it and below it, blah, 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 blah. And, even if it's only $250 a week for some of these people, that's significant.
Yeah.
And it's helping them really change their lives, which is awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I said I'm forever grateful for getting involved in this, and that again, I had no expectations. I thought, well, if I know something, great, and if I don't, I gave it a try. So I was just shocked as those first few days of discovering more and more, and the energy and feeling good. And, I was back to doing 4 combat classes a week. Then I added a kickboxing class to try to even push myself even more. And awesome. No injuries. Everything, everything's still working and flowing just as it's meant to be. So I'm very pleased with it. And again, from the business aspect, I'm really just getting started with the business, but the community, the people I've met, people like Jeff, people like other people that I've only known on Facebook, people that I'm knowing on calls, it's been exciting, and that's something like I can't believe I'm saying network marketing has been exciting for me. Those are not words I thought would ever go together,
right.
But it has.
Well, you make it exciting for yourself. That's what it's all about. And no matter what you do in life, Andy, there's a lot of hard work. Same thing with network marketing. It's not a quick get-rich scheme, and people who are working their jobs, JOBs, on a daily basis are working their butts off, trying to make ends meet. And with this business, you've got the opportunity to work with people who are succeeding, and you're following the leaders and do what the leaders are doing to get what you want. Yeah. And that's what's really exciting about it, cool. Because you do have that opportunity, and it's out there for the taking for those that are willing to do what it takes to put a business together like this together.
Awesome. So if anyone is listening, is interested in learning more as a customer, as the business side, if you already know Jeff or I, just reach out and say that you heard the show and you want to know more information. Or you can also email me at realmenfeel@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you with more information. There's a really a short, quick video about the product and about the 40 benefits. It's really worth looking at. And I have, out of the 40 benefits that, I have had every experience that's talked about for 2 months of use. And I think I had it within the first month of using it. But again, I'm not necessarily typical. Some people do take months of use to notice the first thing. And I've even heard from recently was on a training call with someone that had been using it for, I think, like 8 weeks, and they didn't notice anything, and they're about to give up and just cancel it all. And someone said, no, just, stick with it. And like that next day, they suddenly, here's that energy. Oh, this is what everyone talks about. It finally clicked in for them. So right. Everybody's different. And it's, this can highlight that.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I want to let you get back to your vacation and your cruising fun. And
well, thank you, kind sir. Again, I'm humbled to be on your show. It's very exciting, and we'll be talking very soon. Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful. And again, if you want more information about it's transdermal homeopathic HGH gel, bringing balance to your body. For some health, vitality, whatever reasons you're interested in, cosmetics and beauty. But reach out, realmenfeel@gmail.com, and we'll talk to you soon. Be well. Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org. or the Real Men Feel Facebook group and share what you thought of this episode. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having.